Hi, welcome to my channel. Stacy Ace here, and today's topic is about going into hermit mode, how to be the modern monk. This was a big part of my life that back in 2015, I ended up getting so frustrated with this part that I ended up reverting back to just going with, the herd, I call it, or going with my friends and going back to the bars and going out because I didn't know any better. I didn't know that there's certain steps we can take to set boundaries and armor ourselves so that we're able to go on our journey without that fear and giving in. It's definitely a valid thing to be worried about. Am I going to lose friends? Am I, how do I build these boundaries, with friends and family and even a significant other? How do I do this and find myself and really, go on this journey and embark on this journey without losing this big part of my life, And so that's a very rational, fear. It is and it's not. It's logical to wonder, am I going to lose friends? Is there going to be that resistance, where people don't understand what I'm doing? But when we look at it this way, let's say you're in school and you have finals, and all you have to say is, I have finals, I can't, do anything for a couple of weeks. Then people just back off, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, let's say you go out with friends and you just don't want to drink that night. And, there's that question, like, why aren't you drinking? That just goes to show how much we're programmed. It shows like, oh, you have to either be pregnant or sick or an alcoholic or something's wrong with you if you're not going with the herd. And so this is only reinforcing the whole idea that we're embarking on this journey for our health. So people are either going to get it or they're not. And so what I'm going to do in this video is give you some tools and tips to kind of help you through this process, because this process it's part of the whole initiation. It's part of embarking on the journey. And I want to encourage people to not do what I did and just, oh, screw this is too hard. I have to be basically a nun or a monk and live in the mountains in order to, embark on this spiritual quest, this personal development journey. And that's not true. Luckily nowadays too, people are a lot more, people are a lot more accepting if you want to go onto a personal growth journey. It's definitely later they're going to say, wow, good on you. They're going to definitely think that this is awesome, like once they get it, and they might not get it at first. So I actually brought this. I'm going to be all over the place in this video because it's actually a really hot topic, and it excites me because it's something that I struggled with, and now that I feel like I have a good grip on it, I want to just show you the tools that I used. And so one of the first things I did, let's first talk about what is, I call it hermit mode for a reason. And that's because in the tarot, which I think of tarot as personal growth cards. In the tarot, we have the card of the Hermit. And so this is an archetype. We all have different aspects of every single card. We all have these different characters or aspects of ourselves or different parts of our lives, and we can resonate with each card at different times in our life. And so the Hermit is it's part of personal development. It's part of growth. And so what it says here is, the Hermit is wise and he knows the difference between being alone and being lonely. His solitude is the companion to his bright mind. Key meanings is wisdom and solitude. And so it says, you're deep in the process of soul searching and seeking your own inner truth. Allow yourself as much time alone as you need to look within. Perhaps through meditation or taking long walks to tap in to your divine inner wisdom. So this is a really important part of the journey. And so one of the things I wanted to bring up too is when I was first embarking on the journey, one of the things I did was I started this little book called Stacy's Owner's Manual. And so what this is, and I never finished it, but I think page 1 was all I really needed. And in page 1, what it's all about is, and do this however you'd like to, you don't have to do it, just do it if you're called to, but it really helped me set new standards for myself, and to help me build boundaries with my friends and family and loved ones. And and I would even say, like, if this happens, then do this, and if this happens, then do that. And rule number one for me, and it's still very, very true, because I'm a people pleaser by nature. I love everyone to be happy, but this is a big part of building boundaries and finding out who we truly are, and carving out that time to find out who we truly are, right? Rule number one is never, under any circumstance, do anything you don't actually want to do. And that is so important. And I learned more and more and more throughout my journey that this is an issue a lot of people have. A lot of people have this issue, as they're doing something kind of against their will, kind of against what they really want to do, and it's because we don't want to disappoint people. We don't want to let anyone down. We don't want to do anything that might hurt someone's feelings. And so this is kind of, that's why building boundaries is one of the most challenging parts of this whole journey. But people, they're either going to understand or they're not. So, and it's tough at first. But one of the things you could do is say, just like as if you were in college taking finals, just say, at the beginning of your journey, have like a blanket, either email or text or letter or conversation, that we don't have to keep repeating yourself. Just have like a, hey, friends, family, I'm doing this really cool thing, where I'm carving out, X amount of time to really find myself. I'm embarking on a journey, and I really hope to have your support. But just don't take it personally if I'm not as online as I normally am. And that way people are like, they have the opportunity to just know where you're at. And this is setting a boundary. This is setting a very healthy boundary, just saying, hey, it's nothing personal. I'm going to be offline and I'm going into hermit mode, for a few weeks. And it's nothing personal. And I can't wait to reconnect when I've stepped into my more optimal self. And you could reword it however you'd like, but just say something like that. When I was first embarking, I blamed alcohol. I was like, I'm drinking too much, and alcohol was a huge part of why I was so depressed. But I needed to blame it on something so that I would just everyone leave me alone. Just everyone leave me alone for a little bit so I can sort this out, and really figure out what's wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with any of us, by the way. Nothing's wrong. It's just a matter of sometimes there's just so much chaos and there's so many different energies. We have to just everyone just shut it for a second. I need to figure out what's going on here, but more on a macro level. So maybe start your own owner's manual. Set some standards. What's acceptable and what's not acceptable anymore for you, So that's one way to look at it from the tarot is that, and then also start an owner's manual. And then there's also tarot psychology. This is also more of a psychological way of looking at this, at the archetypes and what. So I want to look at Carl Jung's perspective. This is really cool because he says the hermit is at the edge of the desert, which symbolizes a transition between conscious and unconscious, between darkness and the light of self-awareness. So, yes, we need to take that moment to see, like, what actions am I doing with my friends and family that might be unconscious behavior? How much of this am I doing just because it's just I'm going with the motions of being human in this 3D paradigm, in this world that we live in, just going with all the programming and all the structure and rigidity of life. I want more flow. I might love this but not love that. And so, when we create this bubble, this hermit mode, these boundaries, we're able to sort out, like, this is how we find authenticity. This is how we build our own dominant frequency. And what do I mean by that? The dominant frequency, this is a big part of it. Because if you're an extrovert, I'm an introvert, so this part of the journey was actually relatively easy for me. Plus, we were in lockdown, so I had no choice. I couldn't go out with friends even if I wanted to. So there was a lot of time to sit and reflect and write and read and walk and meditate and all that stuff. But if you're like higher energy and you're extroverted and you just love to be social, make that part of your criteria. This is a big one. I call it criteria. I would set, I made my own criteria for when I would partake in alcohol. I made my own criteria for when I would go to an event, or what was considered a celebration. You know, if let's say it's a friend of a friend's birthday, is that my celebration or their do I really feel the energy of celebration? You know, when we're that disconnected. Yes, it's nice to be a part of someone's celebration, but this is where it's like, well, let me really think about this. You know, like, I'm happy for them. That's awesome. But I have this, and this, and this that I want to do. That's part of my personal development journey. Do I really need to be there? You know, and so this is just a time to reflect on that. You know, and if you really are, you know, really into that, then that's great. But that's one of those things that we take the time to sit and decipher. Like, am I going just to appease somebody, or am I going because I really want to be a part of this celebration? You know, I feel the energy of it and I'm really excited about it. And so this is the time to really just start contemplating, you know, and not just react and go and do what's expected of you. Do what really, really intuitively makes you feel expanded. This is another big one. When we want to decipher what is in our alignment, and what I mean by alignment is what aligns with your spirit, what aligns with your soul. When we want to test this out, what we do is we have the prompt. I'm invited to this baby shower, and then we sit and we breathe about it. Baby shower. Listen to your body. So if you feel any kind of contraction in like your stomach area or heart, this is a no. If you feel expanded and excited and like a sense of relief or just, that sounds great, then yeah, go, definitely. It's fine. And that's your body telling you, that's your higher self telling you, your intuition telling you, it's safe. This is a safe zone. This is safe territory. Let's go. And that's fine. Be your extroverted, fun self, you know, be vibrant, be part of the family, be part of the festivities, the celebration, go. But then if, let's say, you feel like just a little bit, you know, you don't have to be audible like that, but but if there's a part of you that's like constricted, like, I don't know, then listen to that. Your first indicator is usually, you know, that's your intuition. Your intuition usually, and it only lasts like a millisecond. It's like, nope. So listen to it. And your intuition is like a muscle. So the more you exercise it, then the more you'll know, you know. You'll go from, I don't know, was that my intuition? Was it? That's the analytical mind. That's the ego thinking, like, was it? And so stop dicing it, and then go and do something else, and then circle back and prompt yourself again and say, am I going to go? And usually the closer it comes to the event, the more accurate it'll be. And so for me, I'm a very anxious person by nature. So my social anxiety antenna would go way up if it's like a big no, you know. So, you know, another indicator is like if you're a drinker at all, like I am. I'm not a big drinker anymore, but I'm just saying, you know, my default before was here's another indicator. If I have to have a couple of drinks and like socially lubricate, you know, like if I have to have a few drinks before going to this event, you know, then I'm sorry, this isn't going to apply to everybody. I'm just saying it might. Then isn't that an indicator that your intuition is like, no, that's not for me? Because you're basically saying you're not being authentic. You're not showing up as your authentic self. You need some sort of social lubricant in order to go to an event. So, or, you know, maybe not before the thing, but as a bartender, I've seen many people do this. Like, they'll come right to the lobby and right to the bar and like, give me a drink, I have to go. We're going to get in an Uber and go somewhere. That's kind of telling me they don't really actually want to go. That, you know, that it's not that I'm judging the situation. I'm just saying I totally relate. I've been there. You know, so they're going to an event that they really don't feel comfortable going to, but they're going because they're expected to, and in order to make it okay, they're having to take a depressant to make, you know, to be like more relaxed to go. So in hindsight is when I noticed all of this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to do that all the time. And it's because I study consciousness and I study intuition, I study the way the mind works, and in social situations, we do that kind of stuff all the time. That's kind of an indicator that you're not showing up as your authentic true self. So that's why going into hermit mode is so important, is because we want to be able to be our optimal self. We want to be our authentic self. And in order to get there, we need to do a lot of the sorting. What's okay? What's not okay? Gossip is not okay. That's something that I've never been comfortable with. And if we have the type of friend that's all they care about is talking about other people, maybe that's a friend that should just be, have some strong boundaries with for a good amount of time. And then over time, they're going to notice that that's probably not what you're interested in anymore, and maybe you miss that friend and you like their energy, but you just don't like that aspect of them. This is a good time to maybe invite them to a yoga class, or invite them to something that's very wholesome, very uplifting and wholesome, and more in alignment with what your path's all about, and then over time they'll start to get it. Like, okay, she wants something that's more rich and more, that's less superficial, and he or she, and then over time they'll get it. So part of this whole, figuring, sifting and sorting, we want to use the law of attraction here, because this is all about raising our vibration, and we raise it in hermit mode, when we're just, it's all about ourselves, and then this way we can become the dominant frequency and vibration. So you're basically in hermit mode. You're being your most optimal self. You're being your most authentic self. You're being your wisest self. You're getting that inner knowledge. You're knowing who you are. You're discovering who you are, and then that way, when you reintegrate and you go back out into the world and start to play with your friends, you have this dominant energy. So they're going to pick up on that. They're going to feel like, okay, this is okay and this is not okay. And that's their intuition. They're not actually thinking that. It's something that they just feel intuitively. And if maybe they're a little less self-aware, then maybe they won't pick up on it right away. But when you have this dominant energy, and I'm not saying dominant as in like dominant, not like that. It's just about, this is an exercise that a lot of empaths use. It's called armoring. So you want to protect your bubble. You want to protect your frequency, protect your aura, protect yourself, protect your energies. Look into armoring, look into, protecting yourself. Ask for protection, ask your guides for protection, your angels, whoever. Just what I do a lot of times before work as a bartender is I would sit in my car and I would breathe 3 deep breaths, and I would just ask, like, Archangel Michael, could you please protect me tonight at work? And what's great about that is I go into work knowing no toxic energy is going to come near me. And it's amazing that the whole time I worked at my hotel, I only had a couple of very inappropriate, interactions that I was not comfortable with. And, in comparison to before this journey, when I was working, of course, somewhere else, but it was like constant. And because I didn't know how to protect myself, I didn't know how to have the dominant energy of positivity. When there's a dominant energy of toxicity, that it's like, you don't want to have that. So look into how to protect yourself, how to step into, your most authentic, optimal, high vibrational self. And then just think of yourself walking out into the world still kind of in your hermit bubble, but you're able to interact now. And so that's part of reintegration. You're reintegrating with the same world you participated in before, but maybe you'll have different standards. Maybe you'll say, yeah, I used to like to go to that place, but I don't really anymore, because now your energy detector is on high alert, and you'll be like, nah, it seems like every time I went there, something was off. And so your selection of where you go with particular friends, or which friends you hang out with, might change a little bit, and that's okay. It'll come a little bit easier and easier as time goes on. And another part of law of attraction when we're talking about friends is the people that don't resonate with you anymore. Just know that part of this process is when we raise our vibration, those people are just they're gonna kind of fizzle away, and it won't be as dramatic or heartbreaking as we might have initially thought. You'll just see less and less of them. The people that are maybe more superficial or just aren't in alignment or aren't as like-minded as you anymore. That's the whole purpose of hermit mode, and being that modern monk. You wanna have your set of standards so ingrained that it's not easily swayed by others that might have this more gossiping, toxic, lower vibrational kind of energies. And so when you go back into the world, just know that and you don't have to go in hermit mode for too long, not forever. I mean, it might be a couple weeks, it might be a couple months. It depends on the person, and what you're going through and all that. And for me, I like to go in like every couple of months, you know, and carve out like a week or two where I'm more studious and I'm more, you know, engaged with people online and that sort of thing. And you know, reclaiming my innocence, you know, that it's good to kind of cleanse your aura, cleanse your spirit, cleanse your body, cleanse your mind, and tap more into the wholesome, you know, that's kind of content, and it kind of really helps raise your vibration, and then you reintegrate again. So it'll happen like in waves. Anyway, so when you go back to reintegration, this will just have a natural flow to it. It's nothing you really have to think too hard about, because you're just being yourself. So think of it as the toxic energies fizzle, and then the friends that were really always supposed to be in your life will gravitate back towards you. But they'll what's cool about this is part of, you know, creating your own reality, is their behaviors are actually going to alter a little bit to your benefit. That's just kind of miraculous. There's probably lots of explanations for that. A lot of that is when you shift your own mental paradigm, the people that belong in your life will remain in your life, but they'll slightly be more, it's almost like jumping timelines, or like, you know, now you live in this reality where they treat you a little different, maybe with a little more respect. That's something that just, it's part of the whole process, and it's amazing when that happens, because not only did you get to keep your friends, but they came back a better version of themselves, just by, it's the whole as above, so below, as within, so without. When we really take the time to work on ourselves, our reality, including the people we love, starts to change. So just believe that it's magical, it's miraculous, and I love it. So embrace that, and know that the right people that belong in your life will remain, and the people that don't belong in your life, you know, that aren't for the greater good, they'll just kind of fizzle out, and it won't be so dramatic. It won't be too bad. So this is just a huge process of setting boundaries, and it's so important. It's so important. And if you're super extroverted, one last tip is I love Aaron Dowdy. He's actually a coach that he helps me through all my stuff. But he's very extroverted, and he's very spiritual, and he might have some wonderful tips for you too. So he's very interactive. He does a lot of like group meditations and things like that, and he's all about high vibration. He's wonderful, and he talks a lot about law of attraction and the subconscious mind. So look up Aaron Dowdy. He's very extroverted, and he loves interaction. So he might have some wonderful tips for you as well. Because I even though I'm introverted, there were times where I just craved interaction, you know, and that's totally natural, and that's totally fine. And there's going to be a lot of other teachers and coaches that will have tips for you. Another person is Christina Lopes. I think she talks about recently. I'll try to find the video and link it below, but she talks a lot about how you don't have to be a monk or a nun anymore. You know, like the vibration is so high on the planet that we're able to go about, you know, our spiritual quest and journey, and not have to set such crazy boundaries like they used to have to, which is what I was misled about in 2014 and 2015. And now looking back, I'm like, what a dork. I should have just, you know, investigated a little bit more, you know, and maybe found a coach. But oh well, lesson learned. It's in there now. We just have to just take some time out, pretend you're taking finals, tell your friends, you know, it's kind of like taking finals, or kind of like taking the bar exam. I need time to be more studious and look within, and this is part of my journey, so I hope you respect it and honor it and find a way to love it. And they will. So anyway, good luck. I think that's all I have for this topic for now. I'll have more tips later. Okay, bye.